Welcome to page 5 of your Excel packet. On this page, we are going to plot 4 quadrilaterals. Not only are we going to plot those quadrilaterals, we are also going to calculate the perimeter and the area of each. So, let's begin by reading the instructions given at the top of the page. It says, on the coordinate plane, label the following. Our x-axis, of course, runs left to right. This is our x-axis. Please label it with an X. Our y-axis runs north and south. So please label that your y-axis. Remember, if your x-coordinate is positive, you'll move to the right. If your x-coordinate is negative, you'll move to the left. If your y-coordinate is positive, you'll go up. And if your y-coordinate is negative, you'll move down the coordinate plane. The origin, please take these notes down, is of course 0, 0. Think of that as home base or your starting point. And lastly, let's label the quadrants. This is quadrant 1, and we're using Roman numerals. Quadrant 2, quadrant 3, moving counterclockwise, and lastly, quadrant 4. Okay. You are going to take a moment and pause this video, and you are going to plot and label these 4 quadrilaterals. Once you're done plotting them and labeling them, you are going to start the video back up. And for each quadrilateral, you are going to calculate perimeter and area. Use the back of the previous page to create a workspace for yourself. Draw a large T-chart on the back of the previous page. On the left side of the chart, label that perimeter. This is where you're going to show your work for calculating the perimeter. And on the right side, label that area. Remember, perimeter measures the distance around a figure in linear units like centimeters or inches, and area measures the flat surface inside a figure in square units like a square centimeter. But in this case, we're just going to use the generic label units for perimeter or units squared. Pause the video and plot the 4 quadrilaterals on the coordinate plane. When you're done plotting and labeling, turn the video back on and we will discuss perimeter and area. You should have plotted the following quadrilaterals on the coordinate plane. Let's start with our first quadrilateral, ABCD, at the top of our coordinate plane. Let's calculate the length and the width, or the base and the height, of this particular quadrilateral. From point A to point B, we can figure out the base length of this quadrilateral by counting the units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Please label that 8. And from point A to point B, we can figure out the height. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Clearly, this is a perfect square, and we will use those values to calculate the perimeter and the area in a moment. Let's move on to the next quadrilateral, WXYZ. Starting at point W, put your pencil point there, and darken point Z. We can figure out the length of this particular side by counting the units that live along this edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That dimension is 10, and from W to Z, as we count, 1, 2, 3, there are 3 units along this side. If the left side is 10 units, well, so is the right. And if the bottom is 3, well, so is the top. Please label those. Let's quickly move on to the next. Let's talk about figure STUV. This is clearly a perfect square. From S to T, the length of this side is 3, and from T to U, this is 3. It's a perfect square. Please label each side 3. And let's finish up with KLMN. As we look at this particular figure, this edge from N to K is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 units long. And if we look at the width, say from N to M, this side is 1, 2, 3, 4 units long. So let's label the other sides. Now we're ready to calculate the perimeter and the area of each. For the perimeter, you're going to add up the sides. So take the first figure, ABCD, and in the work area, you know you will add 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. However, for area, we're going to use the area formula to measure the amount of square units on the inside. In this particular case, you will take the base 8 blocks long by 8 rows of blocks, or 8 times 8. It's base times height. And calculate the area of this particular figure. Pause the video and complete your own calculations for each one of these figures. You will be calculating the perimeter by adding the sides and area by using the formula area equals base times height. Make sure you show your work as you're calculating the perimeter and the area. Pause the video and find the perimeter and the area for each of these quadrilaterals. Let's compare your work and my work. For ABCD, you should have gotten a perimeter of 32 units and an area of 64 units. Give yourself a C if you completed that correctly. For our next figure, WXYZ, you should have gotten 26 units for the perimeter and 30 square units for the area on the inside. For our next figure, STUV, a perfect square, you should have gotten 12 units around the outside, that's a distance, and 9 square units on the inside. That measures the flat surface on the inside. And finally, for our last figure, which is KLMN, right here, it's a rectangle, you should have gotten a perimeter of 26 units, that's the distance around, and on the inside, that flat surface measures 36 square units. If you've gotten these correct, please give yourself a C. This completes the video for page 5.